Welcome to your PMP preparation course aligned to PMBOK 8th edition and the July 2026 exam. In this orientation section, we will cover everything you need before you start studying: what the PMP is, the new 2026 exam structure, the eligibility requirements, and the study strategy that gets you to pass on the first attempt. Before we start, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Mohammed, and I have more than 19 years of experience in the IT industry and in project, program, and portfolio management. I am Portfolio Management Professional Certified, Program Management Certified, and Project Management Professional Certified. I am also Agile Certified Practitioner and Agile Scrum Master. In addition to that, I am certified in TOGAF and IT Service Management. Over the years, I've worked across different organizational environments, helping organizations align strategy with execution and realize value from their investments. My goal is to help you avoid common exam traps, adopt the correct mindset, and approach the PMP exam with clarity and confidence. Before we begin, let me show you exactly what you'll receive and how this course is designed to help you pass the PMP exam on your first attempt. First, you'll get more than 10 hours of focused PMP training. This is not filler content or theory for theory's sake. Every lesson is designed around the concepts, decisions, and scenarios PMI expects you to understand for the exam. The entire course is aligned to both the PMBOK 8th edition and the July 2026 PMP exam content outline. That means you're studying the latest PMI guidance, including the newest topics added to modern project management. The course is organized into 10 structured learning sections that build your knowledge progressively, from fundamentals to predictive, agile, and hybrid delivery approaches, all the way to exam preparation and question-solving techniques. You'll also have access to more than 500 practice questions. These questions are designed to help you apply concepts, understand PMI thinking, identify common exam traps, and build confidence before exam day. Remember, PMP is a scenario-based exam. The more scenarios you practice, the stronger your decision-making becomes. You'll also notice a strong focus on artificial intelligence, sustainability, agile, and hybrid project delivery. These topics are becoming increasingly important in PMI standards and represent areas that modern project managers are expected to understand. Finally, this course qualifies for the 35 contact hours required for PMP eligibility. It's important to understand that PMI contact hours are based on the complete learning experience, including lessons, exercises, self-study, and self-reading for PMBOK and other materials, not simply the number of video hours. Upon successful completion, you'll receive a certificate that can be used as part of your PMP application. Let's now understand what exactly PMP and why is it so respected around the world. PMP stands for Project Management Professional, the flagship certification offered by the Project Management Institute, or PMI. PMI is the world's leading project management organization and has been developing standards and best practices since 1969. One of the reasons PMP is highly valued is that it is recognized globally. Employers across more than 200 countries use PMP as a benchmark for project management competence. Whether you work in construction, IT, healthcare, energy, finance, government, or consulting, PMP is considered one of the most respected project management credentials available. Another important point is that PMP is not a knowledge memorization exam. It is an exam-based professional certification designed to test judgment, decision-making, and the ability to apply project management principles in real-world situations. Instead of asking, what is the definition of this concept, PMI is more likely to ask, what should the project manager do next? Unlike many certifications that are earned once and never updated, PMP requires ongoing professional development. To maintain the credential, PMP holders must earn 60 professional development units every 3 years. This ensures certified professionals stay current with evolving practices such as agile, hybrid delivery, artificial intelligence, sustainability, leadership, and modern project management approaches. Now let's answer a very practical question. Who is eligible to take the exam? PMI offers two eligibility paths depending on your educational background. The education requirement is actually the same for both candidates. Everyone needs 35 contact hours of project management education. The difference is in the amount of project leadership experience required. If you have a 4-year degree, PMI requires 36 months of project leadership experience. If you have a high school diploma or 2-year degree, PMI requires 60 months of project leadership experience. Another important point is that in both cases, the experience must have been gained within the last 10 years. One important point that many candidates misunderstand is the experience requirement. PMI is not looking for people whose job title was project manager. What they want to see is evidence that you led project work, managed stakeholders, or contributed to project outcomes. Many professionals qualify even if their official title was engineer, analyst, consultant, or team leader. If you currently hold an active certified associate project management credential, PMI grants credit toward the education requirement, reducing the amount of additional training you must document. Now let's look at the PMP exam itself so you know exactly what to expect on exam day. The PMP exam contains 180 questions. Not all of these questions are scored. PMI currently includes 170 scored questions and 10 unscored pretest questions that are used to evaluate future exam content. The challenge is that PMI does not tell you which questions are unscored, so you should treat every question as if it counts. You will have 240 minutes or 4 hours to complete the exam. During the exam, you'll have 2 optional 10-minute breaks. These breaks are not deducted from your exam time, so use them strategically to refresh and maintain focus. The exam is organized around 3 domains from the exam content outline. The first domain is people, which focuses on how to lead people through project lifecycle. The second domain is process, which focuses on 40 project management processes. The third domain is business environment, which focuses on why this project matters for the organization. One of the biggest changes in the modern PMP exam is the strong emphasis on agile and hybrid delivery. Approximately 60% of the exam now comes from agile and hybrid concepts, while the remaining questions come from predictive approaches and general project management principles. Let's now deep dive to see the exam questions distribution. This is one of the most important changes in the PMP exam. Let's start with the people domain. People now represents 33% of the exam. This domain focuses on leadership, stakeholder engagement, communication, emotional intelligence, team development, and conflict management. Notice that while people remains a major part of the exam, its weight has actually decreased compared to previous versions. That's because leadership is embedded throughout all domains rather than isolated in one section. Next is the process domain, which represents 41% of the exam. This is still the largest domain. It covers the traditional project management activities in project initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and closure. It also includes both predictive and agile or hybrid delivery approaches. Now look at the biggest change, business environment. This domain now represents 26% of the exam compared with only 8% in earlier versions. That is more than a threefold increase, and this change is very intentional. The PMI is sending a clear message that project managers are expected to think beyond schedules and deliverables. They must understand governance, compliance, benefits realization, organizational change, sustainability, strategic alignment, and increasingly artificial intelligence. As we move through this course, you'll notice this shift reflected throughout the material. Let's now have you a quick overview of how this course is structured. This course is designed to take you from foundational concepts all the way to PMP exam readiness in a step-by-step learning journey. We start with the fundamentals of project management, including key concepts, organizational structures, PMOs, and project roles. These are the building blocks that everything else depends on. Next, we explore the 6 PMBOK principles. These represent the modern philosophy of project management and explain how successful projects create value regardless of methodology. In section 3, we will cover the 7 performance domains: governance, scope, schedule, finance, stakeholders, resources, and risk. This is where you start seeing how project work is managed across different areas. After that, we cover project life cycles and tailoring concept. This helps you understand how projects are planned, executed, monitored, and closed across different delivery approaches. Then we will move to cover the 5 focus areas and the 40 project management processes the PM use in project initiation, planning, executing, and controlling, and closing. The course then moves into agile project management, including Scrum, Kanban, XP, hybrid approaches, and agile governance. Since a significant portion of the PMP exam involves agile and hybrid concepts, this section is especially important. From there, we examine the business environment domain, covering strategy, governance, benefits realization, change management, sustainability, and AI. These topics have become much more important in the latest PMP exam. We then dive into the PMP processes, which we covered in high level in section 5. This is where we connect the PMBOK 8 concepts to the 40 project management processes and explain how they work together across the project lifecycle. Next comes ethics and leadership, where we focus on the PMI code of ethics, servant leadership, emotional intelligence, conflict management, and the leadership behaviors expected from modern project managers. Finally, we bring everything together in the ECO Master Review section. Here, we map everything you have learned back to the 26 exam tasks across the people, process, and business environment domains, the actual blueprint used to build the PMP exam. By the end of this course, you'll not only understand the concepts, but you'll also understand how PMI expects you to think when answering PMP exam questions. That's the key to passing the exam successfully. This course is built primarily on the PMBOK Guide 8th edition, the Agile Practice Guide, and the July 2026 exam content outline, the three references that define modern PMP preparation. You do not need to purchase or study every reference shown here separately. They are provided for transparency and for learners who want to explore topics in greater depth. Throughout this course, we focus on what PMI actually tests, the people, process, and business environment domains, using the latest PMBOK concepts, agile practices, AI and sustainability considerations, and real PMP exam scenarios. The goal is not to memorize books, it's to develop the decision-making mindset PMI expects from a successful project manager. Let's here provide you a realistic study roadmap, but don't treat it as a strict requirement. Adjust it based on your schedule, but try to follow the progression because each topic builds on the previous one. In weeks 1 and 2, focus on the foundations. Learn terminologies, project life cycles, principles, and the mindset behind modern project management. In weeks 3 and 4, move into the project management delivery framework, performance domains, focus areas, and the core processes that drive project work from initiation through closing. In weeks 5 and 6, shift your attention to agile and hybrid approaches. This is a major part of the exam and includes Scrum, Kanban, servant leadership, governance, and value delivery. In week 7, study the newer topics introduced and strengthened in the latest exam, including AI in project management, sustainability, and ESG considerations. In week 8, concentrate on earned value management, ethics, and leadership. These topics generate many scenario-based questions and require understanding rather than memorization. Finally, in weeks 9 and 10, focus on mock exams, weak areas, and exam strategy. This is where knowledge turns into exam readiness. The goal is simple. Learn the concepts first, practice the mindset second, and build exam confidence last. That's the sequence that produces the best PMP results. Let's summarizes the mindset that separates successful PMP candidates from everyone else. The key message is simple. Study to understand how PMI expects a project manager to think and act. If you master that mindset, the questions become much easier to answer. So let's start with what you should do. Think like a project manager in every scenario and focus on understanding why a process exists, not just its name. Then practice questions consistently, review your mistakes carefully, and invest time in agile and hybrid approaches because they represent a significant portion of the exam. Finally, use a structured approach when answering questions, and whenever possible, discuss scenarios with other PMP candidates. Now let's look at what you should avoid. Don't try to memorize every inputs, outputs, or tools for each process. Don't skip agile, sustainability, AI, or business environment topics. Don't rely only on older PMBOK materials, and don't leave all your preparation to a last-minute cram session. And most importantly, don't walk into the exam without practicing under timed conditions.